Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg. Tonight we're going to be continuing with a series of classes on Cancer Ascendant and the Moon, the ruling planet, in the different houses. Again, we're talking about Cancer rising. This person is very, very emotional. Very emotional type of person. They very, very much want emotional security. They want a home. They want a home, and the family is tremendously important to them. They want to feel like surrounded by loved ones, and they want to feel loved. And so tonight we're going to look at one of the examples of that is when Cancer falls in the 5th house. This is a sort of, you would think it would be a really great combination because, well, the 5th house is a good house, considered one of the better houses, the house of children. Right, and that's a trine from the ascendant, and so having the moon there also in water in Scorpio, it would make a trine to the ascendant, which would be very nice. The only problem is that the moon is not considered great in Scorpio. It's considered to be in its fallen sign when it's in Scorpio, because the moon is the life force really in the person to a certain extent. The moon is what creates life, and Scorpio rules the house of death. So it's an incompatibility there to some reason. They don't have they don't have that. There can be a little difficulty having the moon in Scorpio, that there's not enough of this life force, so to speak, or having the ruling planet in the sign of death. And so when you have when you have the moon in Scorpio in the 5th, so I mean I've seen really good charts with the more Cancer rising with the moon in Scorpio in the 5th, and I've seen some difficult horoscopes with the moon in the 5th, because it's sort of when you have a planet in its fall, it can sort of lose power. It becomes like almost powerless. I remember one of the first clients I ever had was this woman, a girl actually. She must have been in her early 20s, maybe 21, 22. And it was one of my first clients. This was in 1970 something, 1970. Maybe 1975. So she would have been about, how old was she been? I don't really know. I don't remember her chart that well. And he must have been about 20. And she told me, she's been with 1,000 guys already, almost 1,000 different men. And it wasn't her profession, and so I asked her, how come you with so many different guys? She said she doesn't know how to say no, and so it sort of has that losing power. I always remember that, but again, she must have, I don't remember her chart already, so many years ago, but it must have been terribly afflicted to end up like that. She was a normal girl who came from a good background, if I remember, and she just had but it must have been tremendously afflicted, because we see there's plenty of people who have that moon in Scorpio, the Cancer with the moon in Scorpio. For example, Steven Spielberg is someone who has that Cancer rising moon in Scorpio. Again, a very successful man. He's maybe addicted to, like she was addicted to men, to get her love from that, to feel wanted. I think, I don't think you just said no. She just had tremendous need to be wanted and needed and things like that. Steven Spielberg, he's addicted to also movies. He can sit and watch supposedly like 30, 40 movies over a weekend. he gets some kind of emotional satisfaction from that, surrounding by the films. Tonight I'm going to do a horoscope of a man. Let's see, in any case, the moon in the 5th, I've seen lots of charts like this. I'd say just recently I had a man, very wealthy man, who also had Cancer with Scorpio in the 5th, a very happily married man. Doesn't fool around on the side, but he has a tremendous addiction to the stock market. He can lose money, he loses money left and right. He's playing like he's playing like, derivatives and things like that, and he's losing his shirt all the time. Very difficult combination. And so there's a lot of there can be some kind of difficulties in relating to the 5th house affairs. The 5th house rules, again, children. It rules romance, romantic affairs. It rules theater. It rules sport. It rules speculations. So tonight I want to look at somebody who's got a little bit of everything in his chart. I found this one off from the internet. This is a man who's a very famous actor. He's after my time. I don't even really know. I've never seen any. I don't know anything about him really, or his career. But in any case, he's supposed to be very successful. His name is Ben Affleck. And he also has the Cancer rising with the moon in Scorpio, so he has a little bit of everything. He's a big womanizer, and he's addicted to card playing. He's a professional card player. He plays poker all the time. He's a gambler, all right, and what else do I? And so he's got a little bit of both in the 5th house. He's got that womanizing aspect, and he's got the what do you call it? The addiction to card playing, the very strong gambling side of him. And of course he's also been doing alcoholic rehab and stuff like that, the usual also the addictions to alcoholic beverages and things like that. We're going to talk about that later on. Really, usually when a person has addictions and stuff like that, it's usually connected with a very strong Neptune in the chart. And well, I don't want to go through his whole chart right now, but let's just look at the moon itself. The moon there is in the 5th. And it gets a square from the sun, which gives him fame, of course. It's an exact square from the sun. The sun is a planet of fame, and it's in the house of money, so there's going to be a lot of money and fame because it makes a tight aspect to the ruling planet. And he's also, of course, got Venus on the ascendant, which is going to add to make him attractive and make him give him a certain grace and things like that. But other than that, really no other planets really make an aspect to his moon. Just basically the sun, which because of that he seems to be doing quite well. Besides some of his But you see how strong, one thing you do see is how strong that fifth house is. It's all geared around fifth house. In other words, his chart, he's trying to express his Cancerian nature, his need for love and affection and family through the fifth house, through relationships, affairs, through gambling, drinking, things like that. And I thank everybody for listening tonight.